So this is 30 pounds of beef here that comes from my order. And we have stew meat, ground beef. As you can see, there's a big old chuck steak right here. A ribeye, top sirloin, New York. Another ribeye, a T-bone, a ribeye, a couple sirloins, and some more ground beef. What's up, everybody? Derik Broadnax here. I just got back from the butcher and I decided to share a little bit about what I got and why I like it, etc. So I picked up an eighth of beef, which is about 30 to 35 pounds of meat. And I typically do this 1 to 2 times a month. And it's quite a bit. I started doing it, maybe I picked up the first eighth in March, I believe. Kind of maybe April, towards the beginning of the quarantine here for me anyway. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. So I think it's a great, I love it because one, I feel really great eating beef, this quantity of beef. I mean, my body responds really well to it, and the value for me comes in that it's local. So the cows are literally like a mile from my house, from where I live, and so is the butcher where they process the cows. So that's pretty awesome. They're grass fed, um, completely like free range animals. So that's pretty awesome. And so to me that brings the highest quality that you can get in beef, arguably. And also the price is better than I would buy at the store, including Costco, especially when you get into the cost of the steaks. I mean, I basically just it comes to about $7 per pound, something like that, for all of it, which works pretty well, especially when you start getting into cuts of steak. Most of it's ground beef. Most of the weight comes from ground beef and the stew meat and whatnot. But overall, I think it's a pretty good value. And like I said, I like it because the price seems pretty good. The quality is extremely high, and it's a very local source of meat. And I think the only thing better, one of the things I think of a lot about eating is I wish that I was able to produce my own food in the form of hunting, fishing. I don't do either. I don't know how to do either yet, but slowly learning fishing, or at least it's on my list of things to learn. I'd like to learn how to hunt as well, to be able to get some of my food. Um, but I also believe in looking for local sources that are close to you, that provide high quality sources. And yeah, so that's what we did there. Another note, let's see. So basically, how I go through this meat, I eat the steaks first. So usually that takes me a week and a half or so, something like that, depending on other stuff that I'm eating. But I tend to eat the steaks and kind of do just like a pure carnivore type of protocol at that time. I might mix in some seafood, and I also mix in like white rice. If you know me, I got kind of a weird nutrition system, but it works more or less. And just like everybody else, I'm still figuring out what works well for me and what doesn't. But I'll eat the steaks, and then I'll collect the bones and I'll freeze them in the meantime, because once I'm done with the steaks, then I use those bones to make bone broth. And when I'm making that bone broth, then I kind of switch to the ground beef, and I'll make some stir fries. And usually the stir fry, it might be something. Sometimes it's just the meat, and then maybe some hot sauce and something like that, or maybe even just like an onion, something really basic. I mean, super bachelor style. Or what I like to do is I like to get some produce from the farmer's market, and I'll make a stir fry and cook the meat and mix in some veggies, and it's a really easy meal. Easy way to make multiple meals at once. And then once the broth is finished, then I'll make a stew with the stew meat and some vegetables that I get from the market again. And that's kind of the cycle that I go through. And once I get to my bones or my stew meat, then I usually place another order um, with Charlene, and it's pretty simple. Ends up being kind of the focal point to my diet as far as the beef, and that being a staple to the animal protein that I consume. And then, like I said, I'll mix in usually white rice. I do a weird kind of dessert sweet tooth dish, or a dish that I use because I have quite a sweet tooth, and I'll cook just white rice in the rice cooker, and then I'll mix in a lot of butter, like, I don't know, two to 4 tablespoons. It kind of depends. And what do I put in? A quarter cup of maple syrup, which is my favorite thing ever. It's kind of like if you've seen Elf. I'm like Elf in that instance. I can put maple syrup on any damn thing and love it. But and then I'll also add cinnamon and cayenne to that, and it's delicious. It's kind of like a porridge. You can add some other things. I just got some cacao last night, some cacao powder, or excuse me, cocoa powder. So mixing the cocoa powder, and yeah, it's a pretty nice little dessert type of rice dish. And then yeah, I'll mix in some other vegetables and whatnot um, here and there, but that's about it. Um, I think that's all I have to say about this little blip of nutrition. But um, let me know. How do you guys decide on what you eat? Do you look for? Do you hunt? Do you fish? Do you garden? Do you farm? Mm, I think those things are great, but there's definitely a romanticized thing about all of those things, because as I've learned more and more, as I romanticize them, they're extremely difficult to do, and to hunt, to fish and garden, man. It takes a lot of skill. It's a whole skill that I'm still very much interested in, but I don't have much skill in that arena. But I'm wondering, yeah, what do you guys do? Do you do any gardening? Do you produce any of your own food? Do you have local sources for your own food? Do you go to farmers markets? Um, Tell me how you're eating. What do you like to eat that makes you feel good, that gives you energy, etc. Um, yeah, there's a lot of opinions on how to eat out there for many different reasons, and um, yeah, my question is just, yeah, what do you eat that makes you feel really great and gives you a lot of energy? Because I think food is it's a complicated topic for many reasons, depending on your cultural values, your own values, and um, yeah, just what you believe in eating. Um, I know I have a few vegan friends who would probably be sickened by my amount of animal product consumption, but that's fine. I don't like to get into the arguments too much. Uh, that's not true. I'll argue with you one on one, but I'm not trying to preach away, because again, my opinion is, if it's working for you based on your body, your biology, your value system, then good for you. Do that. But yeah, this is good for me for now. This is what I like, but I'm hoping over time that I can produce more of my own. I can fish, I can hunt, I can farm, um, because I think that would be it'd be cool. And I know the times that I have caught my own food and done some foraging, it's just great. It's just another way of being connected to the food. But anyway, yeah, I guess I'll stop rambling now. If you kept going and listening to this, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, if you find any value in this video. Um, yeah, tell me about how you eat. Tell me a weird food that you eat. Like mine is probably that rice dish. That's one of my favorite things to have. And I find when my activity level goes up a bunch, I tend to really crave that. And I'll probably in the future I'll share some other things on food and hydration. I'll make a video about hydration and some of the things that I use for that. But yeah, that's about it. Um, I guess something that just came to my mind. I was just thinking of something from one of my professors in college, Dr. Brilla, who's one of my probably my favorite professor. Um, she used to always she had there's that I think I'll make a series just based on some things that I still remember and practice because of her. And this was from 12 years ago, something like that, that I graduated from taking her classes. And one of the things she used to always say is how silly protein supplementation is. The now it's in the powders and the shaker cups. I used to do all of those things, right? And she said if you eat meat, there's not really a good reason on why you should be spending your money on these powdered supplements, depending on, of course, depending on your needs, but most people don't need um, additional sources of protein. They're just kind of peeing them out. And the quality of the powders, the sources that you're getting are subpar from real animal. And that's also that's another aspect of this style for me is I try to be a fairly minimalist person, and supplements I go through different waves where sometimes I'll supplement with different things. Like right now I have a handful of supplements. They're mainly for hydration. Magnesium is a big one, which is also something that is because of Dr. Brilla. But yeah, but the protein powders, oh, those are silly, and I can't believe I used to spend so much money on those things back in the day. Um, yeah, those are some brief. That's a little bit of a rambling about some food, but yeah, let me know. Again, share some stuff of what you're eating, some stuff that you like, maybe some of your guilty pleasures in food. And I should say too, because I don't want to this I'm kind of sharing, the good stuff like locally sourced beef from a local rancher, grass fed, organic, and then, I superset that with some produce from the farmer's market, and that's organic and local and all the good stuff. But also, sometimes I eat some BS and I go through some waves where I'm eating, musu bees and pineapple fritters from 7-Eleven and other just straight garbage. So um, I'm definitely not on a pedestal here. Still always trying to do the best and keep my sweet tooth in check, um, which for me I've noticed has a lot to do with how well I'm hydrating and some of the specific supplements that I take there. Again, hopefully I'll expand on those. Yeah, for the fourth or fifth time, let me know what you eat. What kind of foods do you like? What foods do you eat that you know are bad for you, maybe? And if you have questions, again, just yeah, send me an email, leave them in the comments. Um, yeah, that's about it. Until next time, catch you.